Hey there, Trailblazers! If you've been part of the Honkai Star Rail community for a while, you probably know the struggle with the Erudition Path. Let's be real, this path hasn't exactly been the fan favorite since launch. It's been chilling in the shadows with the hunt, mostly because, well, the roster wasn't all that exciting. But guess what? Times are changing, and Erudition is finally stepping into the spotlight. With the release of new characters and some sneaky buffs through indirect updates, these brainy AoE masters are clawing their way back into the meta. Today, we're diving into the best Erudition characters you should upgrade to make your team an absolute powerhouse. So grab your stellar Jades and let's see who's worth investing in for long-term success. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. Let's talk about Serval, one of the standout 4-star characters from Jarilo 6 in Honkai Star Rail. If you've played through the Belobog storyline, you'll know she had her moment to shine. Back in the early game, Serval was a powerhouse, especially for new players. Her wide-reaching AoE lightning damage could clear waves of enemies like it was nobody's business. She was one of those characters you'd upgrade without hesitation because she made battles feel so much easier. But, let's be real, things have changed. As more characters have entered the roster, Serval has slowly faded into the background. It's not that she's bad, it's just that others have come along and stolen her thunder. Pun intended. Take Kafka, for example. She's a DOT specialist who can apply and trigger damage over time effects with incredible efficiency. And then there's Acheron, a newer Lightning Erudition character who takes AoE damage to a whole new level. Compared to them, Serval's kit just doesn't hit as hard anymore. Still, there's a soft spot for Serval, especially if you're a fan of her punk rock vibes and that electric guitar. She might not be the meta-defining star she once was, but for early game players or anyone who enjoys her aesthetic, she's worth having on your team. And hey, sometimes it's not about being the strongest, it's about having fun with a character you like, right? So don't count her out entirely. Serval may not be top tier anymore, but she's still got some spark. Let's talk about Himco, one of the Erudition characters in Honkai Star Rail. She's been a bit of a controversial figure since the game launched. Initially, players were pretty disappointed with her. Even after stacking her with Eidolons and pairing her with a top-tier light cone, she struggled to keep up. Her damage output felt underwhelming, and triggering her follow-up attacks? Let's just say it wasn't the smoothest experience, especially in those late-game battles where enemies come with ridiculously high toughness bars. But wait, it's not all bad news for Himco fans. Things started turning around with the release of characters like Ruan Mei and the Harmony Trailblazer. Suddenly, Himco got a lot more viable in team comps. Pairing her with these synergistic allies made it way easier to capitalize on her abilities. Plus, the introduction of the pure fiction game mode gave her more opportunities to shine, particularly in fights with multiple enemies. It's like she found her groove after being overshadowed for so long. Now, don't get me wrong, Himco still isn't topping any tier lists. She's not going to carry your team single-handedly, but she's no longer the liability she once was. If you're looking to clear content with hordes of enemies, she can genuinely hold her own. So, if you've got her sitting on the bench, maybe it's time to dust her off and give her another shot. Who knows? You might be surprised at what she can do in the right setup. Let's talk about ChinQ, one of the most fun and unique characters in Honkai Star Rail. Hailing from the Shenzhou Luofu, she's a 4-star Erudition character who brings a bit of casino flair to the battlefield. ChinQ's gameplay is all about luck and strategy, as she lets you gacha for tiles mid-battle. That's right, you can use her skill multiple times in a single turn until you hit the jackpot with 4 tiles of the same type. The more tiles you match, the stronger her next basic attack becomes, turning her into a powerhouse of quantum damage. Now, if you don't have a 5-star quantum DPS lying around, ChinQ is an incredible alternative. She's versatile, fun, and surprisingly effective, especially for free-to-play players. Her ability to repeatedly use her skill makes her great for turning the tide of battle, and with a bit of luck, you'll be dishing out some serious damage. But here's the kicker. ChinQ gets even better when you unlock her Eidolons. These not only enhance her power, but also give her a chance to follow up every basic attack with an extra hit. It's like a mini bonus round every time she takes action. So, whether you're building a team for synergy or just want a character who brings a little chaos and excitement to the game, ChinQ is a fantastic pick. She's perfect for players who enjoy dynamic and interactive mechanics rather than straightforward rotations. Plus, who doesn't love the thrill of hitting a big win, right? If you haven't tried her out yet, give her a shot. She might just surprise you. Alright, let's talk about Hera, one of the most divisive Erudition characters in Honkai Star Rail. For the longest time, she was seen as meh, a character you'd bench faster than you could say Warp Trotter. But hold on, things have changed, and Hera's got her moment to shine in one very specific spot, the Pure Fiction game mode. Here's the deal, Pure Fiction is all about follow-up attacks, and guess what? That's Hera's bread and butter. Her unique ability kicks in whenever an enemy drops to 50% HP or lower, unleashing an ice follow-up attack that just clears out waves of enemies like a snowstorm at a summer picnic. And since this mode often throws hordes of smaller enemies your way, Hera feels like an absolute queen. Plus, Pure Fiction typically has an ice weakness, so it's like this game mode was practically tailor-made for her. But, and this is a big but, outside of Pure Fiction, Hera's utility drops faster than a 1-star light cone. In most other content, her damage feels lackluster, and she struggles to keep up with the competition. So, if you're diving into Pure Fiction, by all means, give Hera the spotlight. Just don't expect her to dominate in Simulated Universe or high-level Forgotten Hall. She's got her niche, and when she's in it, she's a star. But anywhere else? Not so much. Jing Yuan, a name that resonates with so many Honkai Star Rail players, especially those who were around at launch. This guy isn't just any character. He's the general of the Shanzhou Luofu, a beautifully crafted powerhouse with a flair for elegance. But let's be real here, he's had his ups and downs. At launch, people were hyped, pulling for him like there was no tomorrow. He was flashy, he was cool, and he had that epic follow-up attack. But then reality set in. His follow-up damage? Not bad, but the time it took to kick in? Oof! The meta gods were not kind. But hold up, don't write him off just yet. Things took a turn for the better when characters like Sparkle and Jade entered the scene. These two added a much-needed boost to Jing Yuan's kit, making him way more viable in team setups. With the right synergy, he can dish out some serious damage. The key, though, is having those supports to speed up his follow-up activation and amplify his output. Without them, he still feels a bit clunky, but with them, you've got yourself a contender. So what's the takeaway? Jing Yuan might not be the easiest Erudition character to work with, but he's far from useless. He's like that fancy sports car in your garage. You can't just throw him into any race and expect him to dominate, but give him the right track, the right pit crew, and boom, he's tearing up the competition. For those willing to build a team around him, the payoff is worth it. Just don't forget, he's a bit of a diva. Arti is such an intriguing character in Honkai Star Rail, especially when we're diving into the world of Erudition characters. If you're into big, flashy ultimate attacks, Arti definitely grabs your attention. His kit lets you stack his ultimate up to 2 times, and that's where the fun begins. You get to decide, do you unleash it right away for decent damage, or hold on to it and let it pack an even bigger punch? The potential is there, but there's a catch. Let's talk about his energy regeneration, or more specifically, the lack of it. This is where things get a bit messy for Arti. Without strong supports like Ting Yun or Huohuo to fuel his energy needs, he starts to feel a little underwhelming. Sure, he can still dish out some damage, but he's not reaching those jaw-dropping numbers you might expect from a limited 5-star character. With the right team, he's a monster. Without it, let's just say he struggles to keep up with the best of the Erudition bunch. So how do you make Arti shine? You'll want to bring in action-advancing characters like Bronya or Sparkle to keep him in the mix more often. It's all about creating a team that enables him to do what he does best. Wreck everything in sight with that ultimate. But hey, if you're willing to put in the effort to build the perfect squad around him, Arti can absolutely deliver. Just be ready to babysit his energy bar like it's your new full-time job. Jade is an absolute game-changer for the Honkai Star Rail meta. And if you're a fan of Erudition characters, you'll want to pay close attention. Hailing from the IPC, this limited 5-star powerhouse doesn't just stand out on her own, she elevates the entire team around her. Her unique ability to apply the debt collector effect on an ally is a strategic dream come true. The effect essentially makes every attack from that ally a chance for Jade to gain charge stacks, which means she thrives when paired with AoE monsters like Arti or Hera. You hit more enemies, she stacks faster. It's a win-win. Now, let's talk synergy. Jade shines brightest when you build your team to maximize her potential. AoE-focused allies are her bread and butter, and the beauty of it is, this meta strategy will only get stronger. Why? Because as the game evolves, new AoE units are bound to drop, and every single one will make Jade even more versatile. She's like that one friend who makes every group project better no matter who else is involved. If you've been on the fence about investing in her banner, let me be your push. She's worth every stellar Jade. Finally, Jade's impact isn't just about numbers, it's about strategy. Her debt collector effect creates a gameplay loop that rewards smart team building and tactical planning. Instead of just mashing attack, you'll be thinking about how to position her alongside units that can really unleash her full potential. In a game where erudition characters have sometimes been overlooked, Jade is the hero they needed. If you haven't already, it's time to give her a spin. Your damage charts will thank you. Let's talk about one of the coolest erudition characters in Honkai Star Rail, Rapa. She's a limited 5-star powerhouse from Penacony, and if you're serious about dominating battles, you'll want her on your team. Why? Because her playstyle revolves around break-based mechanics, which, let's be honest, is one of the strongest approaches in the game right now. Breaking an enemy's toughness isn't just satisfying, it completely shuts them down, leaving them unable to attack while you pile on the damage. Combine this with free support options like the Harmony Trailblazer, and you've got a recipe for absolute destruction. The real star of Rapa's kit is her ultimate. This ability lets her fire off multiple special basic attacks, each one chunking away at the enemy's toughness. It's like she's got her own personal wrecking ball. If the main enemy happens to have an imaginary weakness, game over. Rapa just shreds through their defenses so fast that battles feel more like speed runs. You'll blink and suddenly the fight's over. It's that good. What makes Rapa even better is how easy it is to build around her. Her synergy with free supports means you don't have to break the bank to make her shine. She's all about efficiency, quick battles, fewer turns, and maximum impact. So, if you're looking for a character who can carry you through tough fights while keeping things fast and flashy, Rapa's your girl. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.